Good day. It is July 15, and this is another Haizhen log. So, what's happening today? I started writing emails. So exciting. Um, and I, I guess like one of those things that I keep noticing is that the more that I guess what I mean to say is when there is a lesson for you to learn, it will just keep popping up until you learn the lesson. Um, Something that I'm noticing more and more is kind of my feeling like my need to start from some type of beginning so that I can move forward. And oftentimes it's about like moving too far back or going like too far all the way into like trying to start at whatever I think the beginning is, but kind of not kind of taking it way too far back. So giving like way too much detail for you to necessarily need so that you can take that information and do something with it. I think, I don't know where that necessarily came from. I think that maybe it has to do with my one line in my human design, which is the investigator, that need for all the information, the part of me that really likes having a lot of information um, before I guess like that thing that sends me down rabbit holes of like investigation and reading and learning. Um, the like one of the things from human design that's really interesting is like knowing that there's all these different types and that other people have different experiences. Conceptually and logically, it makes sense that like people are different, have different experiences, and kind of approach things in different ways. Um, but like emotionally, like at like when I'm looking out at other people, I can think oftentimes when I'm trying to put something together, I do it from the perspective of myself, which means I'm trying to create and write for maybe an audience that's very similar to me, and thinking that I need to be there. Like I need to make it make sense for me before I make it make sense for other people. And I guess like in some ways it conceptually is fine because like there theoretically are enough people that probably in that band that's close enough to myself that would then understand that message, which is fine. The other part of it though is other people like will receive information in different ways. So for example, there's 5 human design types, 6 different profile lines, 9 different energy centers that can have all sorts of different definitions, and then um, there was something else. But anyways, like basically there's a lot of like flavor. What that says to me now is that I can't, because there's so much variation, it's very hard to understand which piece will resonate with what people at what times. So then rather than trying to like reverse engineer like something that's like quote unquote viral or that will connect with a lot of people, the best place for me to start and for any of us to start really is from our like authentic like message, whatever that means. And then it becomes funny to think about like you have like thinking about crafting a message that's authentic rather than just being authentic and writing what comes to mind. And that's sometimes a little bit challenging. So I get into these cycles of like, if I need to tell my life story, for example, where do I start? If I need to talk about what Haizhen is or what the Haizhen transformation is, where do I start? A couple of revelations, like I think one of the things is I kind of I've shared this before, but I have like 2 modes where I like to operate, which is like either very high up in the clouds, like very high level perspective, or like really down into the details and like getting into nuances. And I can get lost in either of those spaces. So then when I'm like trying to explain what Haizen is, then I sometimes go like, oh, it's like this, like what is it at the highest level? And then it becomes like really conceptual and airy. Um, and then sometimes I think of like, what is it on a very specific level? And then I get like way too down deep into the weeds. Sometimes leaving out that like middle practical layer of like, what is this thing? And really what it is it's a combination of ancient wisdom and modern science that comes together in a way that's immediately practical and pragmatic for you to take then and use to change your own life. Even that is like a little bit kind of airy, because what does it mean to change your own life? How does it change your life specifically? So that's where like the work that I did before of like writing down like, oh, the Haizhen transformation, moving you from burnout to brilliance, taking you from a state of constant burnout, constant feeling like you're trying to survive, and moving you into a mode where you can actually thrive. So then I was writing emails, and I was trying, like, one of the challenges that I had with writing emails was not knowing where to start. If you're into marketing at all, or like you've signed up for an email list, you probably have gotten like sequential emails over time from whoever you signed up for. And those are like email sequences. It's kind of like, this is how I want to put together this messaging to try and move people into a place that so that they're ready to buy my program or to learn from me or whatever. And all of that, I guess like those types of things work. I guess like sometimes people need reminders or just need to see things over and over again before like making the jump, before engaging, before purchasing a program. Because like, how do you know that the things that I'm going to share with you will actually work for you? And I've been the kind of on the receiving end of this. Like there have been so many programs and tools and systems and online this and that that I've purchased that I actually never actually used. It had really good marketing, but then when I got down into it, it was like, oh, like I don't feel like I want to put my time into this thing. So what does all of that mean? I I guess what it means is sometimes it's difficult to have a program that really works well. I got a marketing program once, and the information in it was good, but for whatever reason, how it was delivered didn't really like match. At that time, I was looking for something to just kind of like, I I was always just looking for the solution of like, okay, like if I pay this money and I have like the framework or whatever, I just need to do this and then kind of go. And then everything else will kind of fall in place, which is not incorrect. I'm sure that it has worked for many other people. But then for me, as a five line, which is the heretic, it's kind of like not wanting to do the usual or follow the usual path. And that kind of like makes things a little bit more difficult for me because I just not like trying to be contrarian on purpose, but um, just like looking for a different way of doing it, or maybe overthinking it to the point where taking what has been shown to work, for example, and then twisting it and then changing it into something that rather than doing what's in front and prescribed is like I've made it into something else. And that's okay. It's all part of the learning. So one of the things is now that I've kind of spent all this time, I kind of can see what I like, what works well, what doesn't. And one of those things is to get to a place of action. So rather than just kind of spinning my wheels and just like, oh, like looking for that right answer, I'm kind of going and trying to get more information, is actually just like making something happen and doing something, putting things out there. I think the doing part is important. I was watching an Instagram from a breathwork coach, a breathwork teacher that I follow, and she is about to release a book. And in the book, she talks about how healing is not like a mental game, right? It's not something that you think your way through. It's something that you have to feel, and that holds true for a lot of things. Like even for showing up on camera, it's not something that I can think through, because like by the time I'm in this moment, it's very difficult to like think about the next thing to say before saying it. It just kind of has to come out. Like try that the next time that you're in a conversation, like really pause and then think about all the words that you're going to say, and then see how difficult that is, because then you just get stuck in like a loop of overthinking. Good luck. Being comfortable to allow the words to just come out and just flow through is kind of its own skill. And just something that you have to be comfortable with. Some people are fine with it, others are not. If you'll notice, like these videos are not very heavily edited. Usually I'm just like rambling on for about 10 minutes or so. And sometimes I go on tangents and touch on different things, and hopefully it kind of comes back together. I'm going to trust that it does, because the intention is to share a message. Or to share, I guess my intention really in this is like to document something, document kind of my journey through all of this. So I'm working on emails right now, and part of that process is being a little bit less precious with the work that I'm putting through. Give myself the space to put something out there and give it the space to just breathe and to exist and not actually have to be anything. I was listening to Alan Watts on YouTube, just because for whatever reason it was on my phone. And he was talking about like detachment from results. And that really like resonated in the moment, because you can't do something with a specific result in mind, because then you could possibly get stuck in that space of, I'm thinking of doing things, but if I do this, then that outcome might happen. And then if I do this thing, then that outcome might happen. And then you start playing out all the different potential outcomes. And then all you're doing is like sitting there just kind of running, running scenarios and not actually taking any action. The only outcome that will exist is the one that actually happens. So writing the email, scheduling it, putting it out there, and then like seeing what happens. I was writing about kind of like some pivotal moments. That was one of the emails that I was writing. And there are a number of them there, but one of the moments that I love the most is a dinner that I shared with some of my hypnosis friends in Las Vegas. And we were just messing around, just having a good time, you know, kind of like playing around. Like, it's funny, like in every kind of circle that you get into, there are like kind of like jokes that you kind of play around with. So we were just like messing around and like playing with language, because that's what, like, there's a lot of language stuff in hypnosis. You know, how messages can have double meanings and all of this. And in that moment, like at that dinner, one of the things that I did was I was like compelled to say, okay, everybody stop. It's my turn to talk. Tell me what's wrong with me. Tell me what's wrong with me. And my friend Sandra was just jumped on it and said, okay, everybody stop. I got this. And she looked at me and she said, there's nothing wrong with you. You are enough. And at that moment, I just felt that like wash over me. And I felt like, oh, like, geez, like this really hits. Like what I expected, and like, in the back of my mind, what I expected was to be like, okay, like this is what's wrong with you. And then this is what you need to work on, right? But then in that moment, hearing that I am enough just kind of settled in this really nice way. And for me to feel that really deeply for the first time was a wonderful experience. And that got me thinking to kind of see that, right? Like, it's almost like what you perceive in your reality becomes your reality. So if I see myself as enough, then I can start to see other people as enough as well. Not for their shortcomings, not for the things that they need to change or do better, but more that, I guess my perspective now is that I see things in a way where other people may be operating outside of what it means to be them at the truest level, that authenticity, that alignment. And that's where human design comes in, because human design is like, will give you this unique chart, this unique energetic blueprint that tells you who you are meant to be in this lifetime, in this incarnation. And it's the base, it's the map that kind of takes us forward. So I was recounting this story, and it's one of my favorite stories because it was so personally meaningful to me, this whole situation. And it's funny because in different spaces, it's easy to have other thoughts kind of like show up and say like that kind of are put in front of you and kind of say like make me question, am I enough? It's like a thing that kind of comes and goes, especially when doing new things, especially when entering into new spaces. So like this whole online thing is kind of like, ooh, like what does it take for a person to be compelled to get onto social media and build a following? Like, what is that kind of person? And why do they do it? Like, are they looking for attention? Are they trying to put out a message? Are they trying to, like, I don't know. Like, I'm sure different people have different motivations. For me, I enjoy sharing information. I enjoy teaching. And if this message is landing with you, then this message is for you. The other piece is so what I've been doing, or what I've been good at over the last time, is like starting to talk about my program, starting to talk about Haizhen and the Haizhen transformation. Some of the things that I'm not so good at right now is following through of like, what does this actually like materially mean? And I don't want to say that I'm not necessarily doing a good job of it. I think that it hasn't happened in the time frame like over the last 30 days of like going from the like not having a program to actually having like a fully fleshed out program. And part of that is to give myself the space to kind of like ease into that whole process, to again detach from the result. It's not that because I've spent like 30 days doing this, it's not because I started early in this year, it's not even that I've spent the last 5 years thinking about putting together something where I can help others. I've been doing it on a small scale, individual, with either students, friends, classmates, coworkers, finding those spots kind of like very informally to show people how enough they are, to affirm them. And now I'd love to reach more people. Yeah. So this is an open invitation for you. If this is something that you're interested in, look at the link in the bio or wherever I put it, probably in the comments or descriptions down below. And then get your chart, send me your email, and I'll send you some of the emails that I've been writing. It's funny, right? And maybe like, so one of the things that doesn't necessarily come naturally for me is this, check my link in bio, look at the link in the description and find this and find that. I mean, I think from my perspective, if it's something that I'm interested in, I'll go and seek it out. I think there's also something to be said about making it easy for people to find it. And maybe if I think about it in that way, more of like, hey, like I got this resource for you, it's helpful for you, so then go ahead and look at it. I can be more comfortable in promoting it, in selling that, in sharing that out with people. Which is kind of funny because I know there's value in this. There's value in this for you and for anybody, as long as you're engaging in it, right? Sometimes the lessons aren't meant for you, in the sense that maybe you're just not in a space where you're ready for it. I think that there's so much that's happening in the world, in our lives, that can be easily overwhelming and leading us into that space of burnout. So to be able to have a pathway out of that is something that I would like to share with you. So that's me for today. That's kind of where I'm at. I'm really enjoying the setup. It was like very simple to set up. I like that. And I think it looks pretty good. I don't know. Tell me in the comments below. Kind of engage with this so that more people can see it. That's kind of the whole deal, right? But you know what? If one person watches this all the way through, then that's it for me. I'm so happy. I'm so happy that you are here and that you are you. Until tomorrow, one of these days I will actually make not a log, but an actual video teaching something specific, maybe. I'm not going to make any promises of it. I know that it will happen one day, but I'm not there yet. I'm going to continue to work on my emails, on my program, put some slides together and share some of that out. And then we'll have some fun, right? Let's go.